The next thing we can do to improve our scene is work on a little bit of color. Now, so far we've just been choosing colors out of the quick select menu, and that's what we're seeing whenever we click on one of these color chips. We've got a few colors to select from, but it's not every color that we have access to, obviously. We do have a couple of choices. We can go up here to a normal selector in the color, or actually what I like a little bit better is the color palette that's included in the controls for the program. Let me go over to the color palette icon and we'll just click that, and we bring out a full mixing color palette that we can use to mix up any color we want. Keep in mind we're still choosing colors for stroke and fill, so make sure you select the right icon for what you want. I'm going to go for a fill color to start with, and we have several different mixing options available to us. You can use a hexadecimal color if you got that ready to type in. We can use normal RGB mixing. A lot of times I like to use hue, saturation, and brightness. I'd like to pick a better grass color that's a little bit more muted. So I'll just pick the hue out here from the rainbow slider. I'll bring that up to kind of a yellowish green color. And then I can choose a color from the middle of the palette. That's a little bit more natural color, and you can see that that color's automatically been loaded into my fill color selector over here on the side. So if I just use the paint bucket tool and drop it right on in, I'll have my new green color appearing in the hills. If you really like a particular color, you may also want to save it. So let's do that with our green that we've just chosen. We're going to go over to the swatches menu to do that. Now basically the program's going to take whatever the currently active color is, which right now is my green fill, and if I go into the swatches panel, I can see the existing swatches that show up every time we click on a color chip. But if I go down to the empty space, you can see my paint bucket icon appears, and I can drop in a brand new swatch that represents whatever our active color is, in this case our green. What's nice about that is this swatch is now saved with the file. And if I go over to my normal tool palette and pull down the swatches, you can see that the green is now included with all the other colors. So we can easily start saving colors that we want to reuse again. Another neat thing to know about colors is the eyedropper icon up here. Now basically I'd like to introduce the fact that there's two eyedropper tools in the program. One of them comes up whenever you have the color picker open, and that's the icon that we're seeing here. It not only works inside the swatch palette, allowing me to select whatever color I want to use, but it also allows me to go over any other color in my document and pick that up directly. This tool is always available when you have the swatch palette open. So let me click to close that swatch palette. Our second eyedropper tool works a little bit differently. When we select this tool, I can also go down and pick up any color we want, but you'll notice it actually distinguishes between fill colors and stroke colors. When you pick up a fill color, the program loads the color into the color picker and it automatically switches you over to the paint bucket tool so that you can drop that color right away. Either tool is going to help you pick up colors and reuse things from your document, so you don't always have to save swatches in order to get the color you want. There's one more little interesting feature that I want to show about color picking, and we can do that by going over to our color mixing panel over here once again. I wanted to point out that with all the color settings that we also have a setting down here with an A at the end of it, and in this program, A stands for alpha. Alpha is the term that we use in Flash to talk about transparency. And what this really means is that not only can we select any color we want, but we can also make that color transparent. Now let's try that out. I'm going to change the color selector over to kind of a grayish white. And I'm also going to take the alpha setting and drag it down. Now whenever you see a number in the program that turns up blue with a little underline like this, you can click on that number and you can see a little icon appears with arrows above it. As I pull left, the number goes down, and as I push right, the number goes up. So I can set a transparency level of, let's say about maybe 40%. My preview window down here shows a grid, and that's basically showing me that I can see through this color. Now let's use our transparent color to draw a little mist hanging in the valley. The first thing I want to do is set up a layer that we can draw into. Note, if I drew right now, I'd be drawing right into the mountains layer, which isn't what we want. So I'm going to click on the sun layer and insert a new layer, rename it Mist, and then let's pick a drawing tool. I'm going to go over to the brush tool here and just make sure I select a big paintbrush size that's round. And we'll just draw a little mist in the valley here. I'll just draw it hanging right over the river here. A little lumpy cloud. And you can see as it drops in, we're picking up that transparency and we can see right through that mist cloud into the river and the green mountain in the background.